Hello, happy Monday. Well, for me, it's Monday morning. Happy Monday morning. Whenever you're watching this, happy whatever time of day it is and day it is. This first video is to introduce what's going to be your final project. So I know we're wrapping up a different one right now, but this final project is a mock interview that everyone's going to participate in. And I wanted to give you just kind of a broad overview because it guides the rest of the course for us. In this preparation, what you're going to end up doing is having a 90-second pitch ready. So we also sometimes hear that called an elevator pitch, but it's just a brief, polished introduction about yourself. So you have no more than 90 seconds to introduce yourself to someone in an elevator, introduce yourself to an interviewer. It should make a strong first impression. So you can see here I put it should include a greeting, your name, a background on who you are, so something that makes you stand out. What's your field of study? What's your relevant experience? When will you graduate? And any skills. I gave this to you as a Word document, I believe, so that way you can go ahead and write it out if that helps you just as you go. But this is just a very quick, like, hi, I'm Miss Cochran. I have a master's in secondary literature. I've been an educator for 14, 15, I don't know, years. I would do the math before the interview, which is why I want you to write this out, but just as an example. I have experience at multiple levels, including middle, high school, and the collegiate level, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Just a very quick, like if you start interviewing, like, so tell me about yourself. You can give a little whoop, or if you're at a job fair and they're like, and you get to meet someone, you have something prepared. Then I have long question directions. This long question, I don't want it necessarily to be that it takes like you 20 minutes to answer, but these are meant to be a longer discussion based. So in here, you will see I've given you different behavioral and scenario question prompts. In the actual interview, I will also have content questions related to your program of study as best I possibly can. Um, you are not going to prepare for those because I just want you to show up. I try to make them as easy as possible to where you could answer them on the spot, but then I'll also be able to follow you logically. But the ones I do want you to prepare for would be these behavior question prompts. You'll see in the directions that I talk about having a STAR response, and I'm in future lectures, I'm going to talk about use your STAR response here. A STAR response is where you just explain the situation, you tell me your task, you tell me what action you took, and then what was the result. So if I said describe a time when you face a deadline and how you handled it, I'm going to say I'm going to want details. So I could talk about one time I had to step in and take over a class for an instructor who had a medical emergency, and that meant I now had to grade my 5 sections of exams, but also their 2 or 3 sections of exams that I was covering. I only had a week to get that done, and so it was really stressful knowing how to prioritize. I've given you the situation and my task. Those often go together. So what I did was I made a list of everyone who needed something graded, and I just would take 30 minutes and focus on one task at a time. And if I didn't finish all of those assignments, I moved on to the next one. That way everybody was getting feedback, not just all one class, all the next. So that way it was kind of like equitable and they all could see a little bit of a progression of where they were. That's my action. The result of this was I actually was able to finish ahead of my 1 week deadline, and students had enough time to be able to ask questions and maybe do resubmissions if needed. There's my result, right? So it's just about providing details to give the interviewer an idea of if you are a good fit for the job. And it also lets me see who you are as a person, because even if you don't have experience directly in the field that you're interviewing for, what you've done for another job could transfer over. We all can have time management, project management, communication, teamwork. All those skills can be found in any job. So it's less about saying I have the perfect exact expertise and more of, well, these are things I could do and how they would transfer over. So for these questions here, I really do want you to take the time to think through them. Again, you should have this as a Word document, so you can download it and go ahead and just run through your STAR response. You don't have to write it all out, but maybe bullet point your details like that, to allow you to be prepared and think through this. Because the reality is all of these questions are really standard ones for interviews, especially as you move towards more of a career length interview instead of just like a short-term part-time job. So having some kind of idea of how to answer these is great outside of just my exam. So go ahead and look through these. On the day of the mock interview, there will be a few chosen from each, so you won't answer all 5 behavioral and all 4 scenario, but I want you to think them through so you're prepared. This is the rubric that will be used. You can go 5, 3, 2, 1, and you can see the different parts that we're looking at. Okay, professionalism. I do want to touch on this dress appropriately for the interview. That does not mean that I'm going to expect you to show up in suit and tie, dress, skirt, whatever that looks like for you, but it does mean you should be a clean version of that workplace. So if you normally have some form of cargo pants, steel-toed boots, and like a service top, whether that's like an actual one that you like with a brand or just like a clean button up that's like designed for being used in the shop, that's fine. You can wear that, but it should be a clean professional version. So your steel-toed boots should not be the ones that have a massive rip down the side. Your pants shouldn't be paint splattered or ripped or singed, that kind of thing. Just look professional. It does mean no hats for this interview. But it's okay to be work ready because maybe in the real world you would have to do like a demonstration on the spot. But I don't want dirty, right? Like look nice. It's your first impression. Yes, they know that in the future when you're working for them, you're never going to look always super presentable except for maybe at the start of the day. But for an interview, we should always look together. I do want to note that you do have post-interview assignments. So once you've completed your interview, you're going to have 2 things I want you to do. It can be in one document, submit it as one document. One will be to do a final written reflection. You will be provided a copy of your rubric. Look through that, reflect on it yourself, and you're going to do a short paragraph reflection on the process, your feedback, on what you think went well, what do you think you need to improve, and using that feedback, okay? The second half, so it'll be like one paragraph first, and then I want you to do a thank you interview, a thank you email, to after the interview. So I've given you directions on how to do this. So subject line, thank you, and then like your name and what position you're interviewing for, an opening, do a paragraph reinforcing why you would fit, remember star, and then closing with, I look forward to hearing the committee's decision, or I look forward to meeting with the next round of interviewers. Here's how you can reach out to me, that kind of thing. You can upload it as a single document, PDF or Word doc, and put that in Blackboard. Does not need to be 2 separate ones. Please don't email them, just like upload to the submission spot in Blackboard. So this is your final exam. One other thing I just want to touch on briefly is that there are some mock interview job postings. And again, this is one of those things that I've mentioned in class that I have used ChatGPT for to help me, because throughout I don't have all of these. So what we did was we asked ChatGPT to help make different job postings. If there's not a job posting that is connected to your future career study, let me know and I will get you one. You only select one. So use the information from each one for your resume, for your cover letter, for like who you're talking to. So like if you're going to do the welding, you would like maybe say, Dear Carolina Structural Fabrication Interview Committee, thank you for your time, blah, 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 blah. But it has these descriptions in there for you. And when you're making your resume and cover letter and in the interview, you will want to make sure you talk about how you're prepared to meet the responsibilities and qualifications. If you don't have all the preferred or the minimum, for now, it's okay. This is a mock interview, but just have that in mind. So the second PDF in your Blackboard area goes over this for you, so that way you can see it. So again, just to show you real quick, let me drag this over. Here's your final exam mock interview. The first one's the assignment with all the information, and then your job descriptions are here. And you can see again, as I mentioned, this is a document, so you can download and edit as you go. So make sure you choose the right one. If you see one that's not applicable to you, please let me know. I tried to have a variety, but that doesn't mean I didn't miss one. So we're preparing for this. Your mock interviews will be done this final week of class. You will see that I don't have an exact date because I'm letting you choose your time. So back in Blackboard, if we go to Unit 2, you will see this mock interview time slot link. You have options. If none of these times work for you, please let me know. And I will do my best to find one. When you go to sign up, it's going to have you put your name and email address. Please use your Cougar Mail, and then you'll book it. We can do these in person or virtually. I try to make it optional. Either way for you. You'll also note that on that Wednesday when we have class, there's interview times during class. That's because this is your attendance for that class that day. We will not meet as a group because I'm hopefully going to be busy meeting with you guys one-on-one for your interviews. So this is here for you to sign up to choose for it. But as you can see, it has to be done by that Thursday the 16th because that night you have to submit your post-interview reflection to me. That is a hard due date. Class ends on the 16th. That is the end of class. I can't take work after that. So those are our hard due dates. If you have questions, let me know and I'll chat with you soon.